we're going to talk a little bit about marriage and it not being idolatry to desire marriage. I know as a single woman of God, I like to call myself whole, waiting on God to send me my husband. I am a wife now. What if the fact that we have been thinking or taught or groomed to believe that if we desire marriage, that this is something that could become an idol in our heart? What about everything else that we are told to desire, as if that can't become an idol in our heart? And then you have people who are married, right? And they tell you, oh, don't rush it. Easy for you to say when you get to go home to your hard leg or your soft body, while we as single people get to go home to our pillows, our remotes, and our snacks. Other than that, this is the only thing that I can see that is stopping the people of God from being married. The world can get married and find someone that loves them unconditionally. Yes, we have to be equally yoked with our spouse. Yes, we do. We do. I get that. We want to make sure that we are walking in alignment with the Father. We want to make sure that we are doing the right things with God, unto God. So that is something that we have to keep in retrospect, right? We want to keep that top. But the world can believe for marriage, and it is okay. And they are married. You have a lot of single people within the church that have a strong desire to be married, but they suppress it because of what they're being taught and what they are being told. Now, if you look at Adam and Eve, when they first got together, what did God do for them? He blessed them, right? Even though they made mistakes, they had, Adam had his job and Eve was there. They were blessed. They were to be fruitful and to multiply. Number one, yes, Adam had a job. Adam had to name the animals and do all types of other things. And he felt like, hey, I need a companion. Adam didn't even know what he really needed at the time. I get that. But as a woman, she came from Adam. She came from Adam. So in order for them to work together, they got to work together. They got to work together. You cannot detach yourself from the vine and think that it's going to be okay. Just like we need Jesus. We come from Jesus. We come from God. We have to be connected to him. It says it's not good for man to be alone. This is the word. And I don't believe that that's just the context of male species. I also believe because man in the Bible is used interchangeably with women and men, it's also for women. It is also yet for women. It's not good to be alone. Why? Because you run the risk of so many different things. The family structure works well with both mother and father. Even if you look at it in its rightful context as far as the natural. They always say because one parent was missing, the child has issues in an area because one of the parents were missing. Now, the first ministry that God gave to people on this earth was marriage. That was the first ministry of two together. Then you have such Bible verses, right? Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor. How awesome is that, right? But again, we as women have to see ourselves as wives right now before the ring, before the actual ceremony. We have to see ourselves as already a wife. Not a girlfriend, not somebody that's looking to date. We also have to change our mindset so that we can get what God has for us and we can walk in the things that God has for us. It is said that a man is only 70% of who he is to be when he's walking in purpose without his mate. That's when you're walking in purpose, not just doing things, right? Because we could always be doing something. Doesn't have to be walking in the ways of the Lord. It really doesn't. But we can always be doing something. Doesn't mean that we are walking in purpose. But a man who is not walking in purpose, if a man who's walking in purpose only reaches 70% of his potential without his God-ordained spouse, how much is he really walking in his true ordained purpose and self, right? How much of his self is he producing? Maybe not even 50%. If it's just him by himself and he's not walking in God's purpose, he's just working, toiling. But here it is, you have a man with purpose. He's walking in his purpose. He only becomes 70% of himself without his God-ordained spouse. Why? Because the wife is to help me. It says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor. You are, as women, the favor of the Lord. Why? Because you are even though you both submit to one another, you have something that man needs. That man has something that you need. You guys coming together, so I understand when they say the better half. It doesn't mean that I am not a whole person. It only means that when we come together, we really can walk out the assignment of God holistically, not partially. Because at the end of the day, the Bible also says in Ecclesiastes 4:9-12, this is good. This blessed me. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if 2 lie together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. When there are 2, and we are with one accord, and we are equally yoked, oh my God, the damage to hell that we could do. Now, of course, we have to fix in our mindset, why do we want marriage? Why do we want to be married? Why do we want this thing? So we got to be intentional. And we got to know why God called us to marriage. It is not just for our pleasure. We have an assignment. Of course, it's pleasurable. Don't get it twisted. It is pleasurable. But we have an assignment that we need to fulfill. Us as single women, our men are out here trying to walk in their purpose without their rib, without their 30% of who they are. A man can only reach 70% of who he is, walking in purpose without his favor. I have heard so many men confirm that they were walking in purpose. And when they got married, the many doors that were open, in spite of the doors that was already being opened for them, but all the more because they were divinely connected to their kingdom spouse. I get it. They say don't rush. But as a woman who has been single for 8 years and I am still, now is my time for marriage. Now is my season for marriage, right now. But at the end of the day, I'm not settling for less. I want the one that God has for me. Why? Because this is not just something that we just going to do. We just going to go have fun. We're going to travel the world. We're going to go have good sex. We're going to go do this. We're going to go do that. No, we have a purpose and an assignment to fill. All of the other stuff that come along with this marriage is going to be the added perks. But first, we are coming together so that we can please God and walk out the assignment that God has ordained for us. So, by this being my season and my time for marriage, I have to realize it is okay for me to desire my godly spouse. Tearing down those strongholds of believing that, oh, if you desire a husband, this could build idolatry. But also, me wanting a child could build idolatry. Me wanting a business could build idolatry. Me wanting finances could build idolatry. What does Matthew 6 tell us? When we are concerned about the cares of life, we have made the spirit of mammon idolatry in our life. And it is just, I apologize. It is just something as so small that being worried about your bills. Of course, the Father knows that you need them. He knows what you are in need of. He knows that you need a home. He knows that you need a car to get to and fro. He knows that the lights need to be on. He knows all of these things. But because you are who you are, and you're in Christ, and you've been told certain things you feel like to desire a husband or a wife. Oh, don't worry about that right now. Just worry about other things. Why? When that's the first ministry that God ordained. Is this the reason why many people in the house are still single? Because they don't want it enough. God often looks at us and say, how bad do you want it? I know you want it. I have it for you. But think of it as our children, right? Our kids can come to us and say, hey, I want this toy. And you say, okay, cool. Sound good. How much is it? All right. But you don't hear nothing else about this toy. You may tell them, hey, wait till payday, right? Like we're waiting on God. You don't hear nothing else about this toy on payday. A lot of times you're not going to say, hey, Sandra, hey, Nick, you still want that toy that you wanted, baby? You still want that? You ain't going to say that. You're going to wait for your child to say, hey, Mom, it's payday. Are we going to the toy store today? Are we going to get the toy that you promised me? And if we are to act as dear children, sometimes we got to see how our children act when it comes down to a promise. They don't let up when we tell them, hey, I have something for you, and we're going to do something. And this is what it's going to be. And the kids are always like, okay, so when we're going, what time are we going to leave? What are we going to pack? What are we going to, all these questions that a child have. Or even when it's something that they desire, they are not letting up. They will come and show you the exact thing that they want. Oh, Mom, this is the toy that I wanted. This is what it does. Look at it. Look and see how cool it is. They don't give up when they really, really want something until they get it. So that's the same mindset God wants us to have when it comes down to the things that we desire. Desiring marriage and becoming one with a man or a woman is not a bad thing. It is a blessing in God. It is what God has ordained. And I'm just to the point in my life right now where I'm like, maybe this is what kept me from being married, because I always would suppress that desire to be married. And I would tell myself, you know what, you can wait. You can hold off. It'll be all right. And it will be all right. But at the end of the day, then I sit up and tell God, oh, it can wait. It can wait, Dad. You ain't got to do it right now, Daddy. It can wait. So am I to blame that my marriage has not manifested yet? When God says, I have what you want. I know what you want. I even have the perfect mate for you. But if my kids are telling me, Mama, just wait. It's okay. We don't have to have it now. I don't want it to become an idol in my heart. I don't need that toy right now. I might go, okay. But we're not going to go get it. Same thing with your daddy. If we are so concerned with the fact of what someone may think, this becoming an idol in our heart, why are you desiring anything? Why are you concerned about your bills being paid when pagans are concerned and worried about those things? But the enemy will tell you that it's bad to desire marriage when he knows the family structure is the main thing that the God that we serve looks at as even a symbol of Christ has a bride. We are his bride. Why would that be an idol when Christ say we are his bride? Come on now, y'all. It's time for us to get married. This is our time to get married. Now is our time. Now is our season. Now it's our time. Right now, y'all. So, marriage is not idolatry. If you desire to be married, I'm here to tell you right now, go to the Father about it. Let him know exactly what you want. Again, Being single 8 years, you don't know what you asked for. Yes, I do, because I was married before, so I already know what it entails. It's nothing more beautiful than having someone that you can wake up to every day and you guys can pray together. Someone to cover you, someone that you can cover, someone that you can encourage, someone that can encourage you, someone that can push you into the Lord and lead you to the Lord's feet. There is nothing more beautiful than that. We even want our friendships like that. Someone who we can go to and pray with, who can love us. We want to love our friends as well. But how much more someone who we could really, really be intimate with? So we got to do away with the stinking thinking about the things that God has promised for us. It's okay to want a child. It's okay to want a business. It's okay to want money. It's okay to want cars. It's okay to want land, but it's not okay to want a husband or a wife. The devil is a liar. And we're going to prove it on today. Today and now is our time. It's the susceptible time for you to say, this is my time now to be married. This is my time now to be married. And I'm taking it by force. I'm going to take it by force right now. So with that being said, desire. Tell God what you want. Two are better than one. Why wouldn't the enemy want to fight that assignment? That there are two that will come together and that will tear down the kingdom of hell. The enemy already knows what two can do. The enemy knows what two can do. So why wouldn't he try to stop that? I'm just saying, why wouldn't he try to stop that? If I knew that two people could come together and destroy me, why? If I was Satan, why wouldn't I? But I'm not Satan, so that's not something that I will look into. But at the end of the day, when two people come together, they encourage one another. They pull one another up. I love y'all. I didn't want this to be even 16 minutes, but to God be the glory. I'm glad that it is. I love you all, and please stay encouraged.